Hey everybody, welcome to Making Megavisions podcast episode 3. I want to walk you through how I set up a file for printing once I'm done laying it out. This is page 3 and 4 of the Neo Retro Takeover / Streets of Rage for the Master System review. You can see these are the pages locked into InDesign with all the placeholder text. And what I'll do is I'll set these up for printing, and then they get shipped over to our copy editor Graham, who plugs in the final text and then makes sure it fits, because sometimes after I do the layout, sometimes it needs a little bit less text, sometimes it needs a little bit more text. But as you can see here, these are PSDs currently, multi-layered PSDs. That lets me know that it's still a work in progress file in case I have to go do something else and come back. And then two, when I do set up the final file, the final file will be a TIFF, a flattened TIFF. So this is just one image. Normally in InDesign, each one of these little images would be a separate linked image. Like there'd be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, like however many screens here. Each one of these normally, when people make a magazine, normally each one of these images would be right here, all linked individually. I don't work that way. What I do is I do one image. So this is just one big, giant image, a PSD. And then the only thing in InDesign other than that are these text boxes. This allows me to go in there and to adjust the screens and do filters and textures, and to give you a sense, not so much how the game looks when you plop it into your system, but kind of more like how you remember it looking, like the feeling you get from the game. So sometimes I adjust colors or add glows or make it look, like the magazine's been worn and faded. And so this is something that I coined the other year. But it's 1990s in HD, right? So take the best part of the 90s and then sort of like filter it through more coherent color design and through a little bit of that nostalgia, and then sort of make things look a little better than they probably looked back in the day. Like there's no glows on these fires in Master System game, but I add these extra things because uh, these these are more like art books to me than buyer's guides. So, anyhow, what I need to do now is set this up for print. So how do I do that? Well, what I do is I come back into Photoshop to my original file and I make a copy of it. Always make a copy. So this right here, this little button here duplicates the entire file from its current state. So it's made a complete duplicate of the file. And then I just quickly flatten the image right there. Flatten, boom. Then I come over to image mode. Right now it's in RGB. I work in RGB, but preview in CMYK. So if I hit Control Y, you're going to see some color shifting here. That's how it's going to print. Now it's going to look it's going to look pretty good when it prints, but some of these colors are just out of gamut because that's a whole nother conversation. But it's pretty close. So I'm going to go ahead and convert this now to CMYK. And these settings are based off my own custom printing profiles, which will limit things like dot gain and a bunch of stuff you probably don't want to know about. Then I'm going to go to the black channel, and I'm going to just select the darkest area of the image. I'm going to go to color range, and I set the threshold to 10, and you can see these little white bits. These are the little parts of the image that it's going to select based on the color I just selected. And with these marching ants, you can see it's a little all over the place. And then I'm going to fill in the black channel a color mixture of 30, 50, 70, and 100%. This is called rich black. So you're going to get this rich black right there. It also adds 100% black to the image. Why is that important? Well, why that it's important is because if you don't have a spot on the image that has 100% black, then digital printers will apply black to the entire image. If it can't find a spot where there's 100% black, it will add black to the entire image. This is one of those things where when people go to print things, you're like, man, it looks dark. That's why. So I set that up, The last thing I'm going to do is just quickly go to adjustments, brightness, and I usually add an extra 5% brightness after I do that, just to offset um, discrepancies in printing. And that's it. So we go from here, then I'll save this as a TIFF. I've already done the first 2 pages, so I'll go 3 and 4. Save that as a TIFF. We can close that. And then I'm going to come quickly back to InDesign, and I will relink that PSD with the final TIFF file. Boom. There you go. And so now when I see the TIFF, I know, oh, that's done. So I've already set the first 2 up too, and I'll just go ahead and do the same thing there. Boom, that's done. All right. And then the last thing I got to do is set these 2 up. And when I get all done, I'll just hit File, Package. And what it will do is it will take all the images and fonts that I have, and it will package it all up into one file that I can then upload, and Graham will have all the final images. There you go. That's how we do it, folks. Just that multiplied by every layout we have in the magazine. All right. You have a happy Labor Day. Thanks for hanging out with me and making Megavisions. I will get back to work. Bye.